hot lane would never extend into my property. So that's pretty simple. So the green, the green is 25 foot, and this is a 50-foot right away.
Yeah, they have it.
Okay.
Covered out. The orange and yellow is that, you know, asking if it's possible that no one else is going to claim this property to get it back on the tax rolls.
So he got these
Vacation
lots.
would be 50%.
He wants to do a Hobbit lane.
Okay,
If that makes
so-
sense, basically.
so let me give you, again, a short synopsis of the law regarding paper streets and paper rounds. And I do this quite regularly. If this is part of a plan lots, this paper street, and it's never been opened up, the township has no public interest. If we haven't opened up to use or ordinance or resolution or agreement, then it's a paper street. Now, anyone that owns a lot in that plan lots has an easement, a right to use that paper street. So, even if we would say we pass some type of resolution that says we have no public interest in Hot Lane and Circle Avenue, then basically, your next step you'd have to do is you'd have to go through a quiet title action.
Sure.
And that's a legal action in the Court of Common Pleas, and you'd have to file something. Some people think if we did pass a resolution saying we don't have any interest in it, then basically they get that property automatically on the property, but it doesn't happen that way.
Nothing's given to you for it.
So you're gonna have to do a quiet title action. Now, this Circle Avenue, that's not been opened either, has it?
No.
It's not a public road, it's not part of the public road system, and we don't have to, now, what I would do is if we could pass a resolution, not go through the ordinance process. You know, the question is, I'm thinking, some places they'd wanna have a survey showing the meets and bounds of what's being done.
Yes, this exhibit is just to show for conversation to make sure that you guys are okay with doing this, then I will have the proper survey prepared.
Well, you'd have to have, the way to do it, you have a survey showing what the township's going to say, and we're not vacating, we're just saying, we have no public interest in those paper streets.
Correct.
That's all we'll be saying.
Okay, but I mean,
So what I would suggest we do is have a survey for the board to consider, for what portion of these streets you want us to say we don't have a public interest in. And that way we could have a resolution, and down the road, if somebody says, well, what's this situation, then we have a record.
so if I say I would like to have the whole 50 feet, then you can determine whether or not.
We don't determine that. That's a quiet title action. It's a Court of Common Pleas.
Okay.
We don't get involved with that.
But since it hasn't been on tax documents, it's something that's so I should go to my next step and have it all surveyed.
You should have a survey, but again, when it comes to quiet title action, you have to go to court. You have to give notice to advertising in the paper, give notice to the people, and then the people basically say, if no one shows up, then that's up to the court.
Okay, and there was some other questions that, when I sent that in, the county tax map indicates that lot 789 were previously consolidated. They asked if I was only requesting that the street vacated, the street and the lane are to be vacated, put two things on there. There was a disagreement on the county tax map versus what's on that.
Those are notes he's reading.
I think
from
he's
TJ's
referring
review.
to my
We've been
email. So,
consolidated.
yeah.
The county's saying this
I-
has been consolidated.
Sorry.
I think.
Dennis, I did look at this last week. I sent an email to the board and yourself with a few comments. I had 4 notes on this. And I agree with what you're saying, first and foremost. I guess I had a procedural question about whether or not these lots have already been consolidated. It appears on the county tax map that they have been. However, it's a little bit unclear on this exhibit as to whether or not
The deed,
7, 8, and 9 have already been consolidated into one piece, or if there's another component required for this to actually consolidate those 4 lots into one. So that's the first question.
So when you say it's consolidated, I mean, did you check with Raphael at the tax assessment office?
I didn't go that far, no.
well,
I actually referred him back to his surveyor to check on those.
I did call the county, and talked to them, and
Who did you speak to, the county? Raphael?
Raphael.
Okay.
Okay, and, my survey responded, it is correct that the lot is a single tax parcel and appears to have been consolidated. However, the lots are described separately on the deed. So I don't know how that was possible, but.
So my recommendation would be when you have your property surveyed, your surveyor should do some of that title research and determine what the status of those 4 individual lots are compared to
Okay.
one consolidated parcel.
Changing that anyhow.
Because that's a difference. You'd have to, if these aren't already consolidated, you'd have to proceed with a, subdivision plan application to consolidate those 4.
Right, if I found,
But again, it goes back, we're not vacating anything, all we're saying basically, we have no public interest. Since we never adopted the resolution, ordinance, or whatever, agreement. But go ahead, TJ.
Right, so the second comment talked about a difference on the northern property boundary. The county's mapping shows that the volunteer fire company owns the entire, I'll call it frontage on what we're referring to as Circle Avenue North, which extends around the bend there. This drawing shows that Duquesne Light has a piece of that frontage, which I just think that needs to be confirmed as to whose ownership frontage that is, because in a typical process like this, the property owner on either side would then meet in the middle of that, what's being vacated. So
okay.
that's number 2. Number 3 talks about, typically as Dennis was referring to, there's a perimeter description of the area that's going to be vacated that's included on the survey. And typically those surveys include a reference note to the original plan of lots, which gets back to Mr. Maple's previous comment. But yeah, I agree. I think the next step is to have the area surveyed and then come back to the
Now,
town.
keep in mind, I represent Dollar General in another county. And basically, we went to acquired title action. And I had one person object to acquired title action. And that caused a major problem with the development of that property. I'm sorry.
I can respond to the lot situation. There are a lot of parcels that have one parcel number. However, they comprise of 1 or more lots. And that's done for convenience sake, but the deed actually has those lots individualized on a separate deed, but are combined for convenience for payment.
Thank you. But again, I'm just telling you, someone complains, one of these people in this plan lot complains about the acquired title, then you have a major issue.
Sure.
Okay?
I mean, you have to.
I'm just telling,
You have to ruffle a few feathers to get something done.
we spent
Until you try.
we spent thousands of dollars, and we thought we could, get through it. Okay, is that it, Mr. Emmer? Yes?
But my surveyor did respond to what he got off the answer to number 2 was the northern adjoining property differs from the county tax map. The county's mapping indicates that Elrama Fire Company owns most of the frontage along the Paper Street, not Duquesne Light Company. Elrama Park Cooperative owns the balance of the frontage. Who is the Elrama Park Cooperative?
That's what you would belong to once you move down there, sir. You haven't looked into anything. That's a co-op. That whole circle is a co-op.
Okay.
We all belong to it, and you belong to it if you join, if you buy the house. Then you'll know. You have to sit down and talk to them people. There's a water line that goes through that property, a big water line. That you're not gonna be able to get that property because the water line goes through there. You have to sit down and, like Dennis said, you gotta look into this a little bit more.
Oh, I'm just learning.
I mean, cause you're not gonna, you have to look into it. But you have to sit down with the co-op and find out who they are and what they are. That whole section is a co-op.
That's what he's saying.
I did not know that.
Well, you have to sit down and talk to somebody.
Well, I think.
I bought the property a month ago. I'm trying to learn by coming here.
Talk to your neighbors, they'll tell you. All you gotta do is talk to the neighbors, they all know.
So ignorant.
Yes, they
The one-
One of them's a trustee, it's across the road from me.
Ignorant.
Did he say anything?
Okay, that's fine.
I'm.
That's what you need to do. You need to get a hold of Dennis, and them asked me too. You need to get a hold of the co-op too. You're
He's so
a member of
ignorant.
maybe 20 or 23 people.
And how do I join this co-op?
Well, you'll join as soon as you bought the property, you'll be a partial owner of the co-op. You own whatever it is, 25th of the co-op. So whatever happens in the co-op, you have a vote.
Well, how come nobody told him when he bought the property?
We bought it through the bank, how is it, the bank probably don't know.
But you're telling him he should know.
We should know. We should
Okay,
know.
guys.
Who would've told him?
Alright, Mr. Emmerich.
Sorry.
My name is Wayne Herrick, I'd be glad to talk to you.
Okay, wait,
Learn
Mr. Emmerich,
I can.
anything else?
There was a note saying that, anything that generally paper streets are vacated during resolution. My thoughts would be that Mr. Ermick enter into the agreement with the township to cover all fees associated with the township.
Mr. Emmerich, are you referring to his email?
Yes.
Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you talk to him after the meeting? But I think the most paramount thing you have to do is you need to talk to that gentleman in the back before you even go in this direction. If he's on that co-op and he says no to the quiet title, you may be spinning your wheels. So what I think you ought to do is talk to him and then talk to him, okay?
Very good.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Morgan?